You ever look at a business run by an absolute genius and realize it's all held together with duct tape and hope? It's a fascinating puzzle, right? Why do some of the smartest people in the world build these incredibly fragile companies? Well, today we're going to get into the psychology of it.
Yeah, this is the big question. And it's not just about making a few bad calls. We're talking about a consistent pattern of choices that just don't make sense on the surface. We see these brilliant, innovative leaders building amazing things on top of systems that are frankly a total mess. So why? Why does this happen over and over again?
And this quote right here, this is pretty much the core idea of our whole explainer. See, the whole point of great infrastructure is for it to just disappear. It works so well, you don't even think about it. But, and this is the big but, that very invisibility is what makes it so hard for our brains to value it correctly.
Sound familiar? You know, we call this key person risk. There's always that one person, let's call her Jennifer, who just knows how everything actually works. The moment she takes a vacation, everything grinds to a halt. And look, that's not a sign that Jennifer's a superhero. It's a flashing red light warning you about just how fragile your system really is.
Okay, so we've seen the symptoms. Now let's switch gears and dive into the root causes. We're going to put on our behavioral scientist hats for a minute and diagnose the cognitive biases that get us into this mess. And remember, this isn't about some character flaw. This is literally just how our brains are wired to work.
All right, first up on our list of culprits, status quo bias. At a fundamental level, our brains are lazy. They're built to conserve energy, and the easiest way to do that is to just stick with what's familiar. So we default to the current way of doing things, even if a much better option is staring us in the face, simply because making a change requires effort.
And this is where that mental shortcut gets really, really expensive. We all love that saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. It sounds so wise, doesn't it? But the numbers tell a very different story. A system that's not broken, but is full of clumsy workarounds and wasted hours, can easily cost a small business over 150 grand a year. So, yeah, maybe it's not broken, but it's costing you a fortune.
This quote, wow, it just perfectly captures that aha moment, right? That feeling after you finally overcome the bias. This founder realized that all the mental energy he spent worrying about the problem was way more costly than just solving it. The fear of change was imaginary. The cost of doing nothing was incredibly real.
Okay, the next piece of the puzzle is something we've all felt. It's called decision fatigue. Your brain literally has a limited daily budget for making good, high-quality decisions. By 2 in the afternoon, you're pretty much running on empty, which makes you way more likely to just avoid any big, complicated choices.
And here's the direct result of that. Upgrading your systems, documenting a key process, those things are almost never the biggest fire you need to put out right now. So these big, important, but not urgent decisions just get pushed and pushed and pushed. This creates what we call infrastructure decision debt. And just like credit card debt, it just sits there in the background, quietly compounding.
Now we get to what might be the cruelest psychological trick of them all. The visibility paradox. It's simple. When your systems are working perfectly, they become invisible. No one even notices. No one pats you on the back. And this creates a really, really messed up incentive structure inside your brain.
Think about it from your brain's point of view. The feedback loop is completely backwards. If you invest time and money proactively, what's your reward? Absolutely nothing. Crickets. But if something fails, the consequence is huge. Everyone is screaming. So over time, your brain learns a very simple, logical lesson. Don't waste precious energy on this stuff until the alarms are blaring.
Okay, so if our brains are wired to fail at this, how does anyone ever get it right? Well, let's look at a control group, a team that has to operate at an absolutely insane scale. The folks who manage data infrastructure for the Super Bowl. They have basically mastered how to overcome these exact biases.
Just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, at Super Bowl 58, just the Verizon customers in the stadium uploaded over 40 terabytes of data. I mean, think about that. It's a staggering tidal wave of information coming from one single place in just a couple of hours.
So how in the world do you handle that? You don't just cross your fingers and hope the local cell towers can keep up. No. You proactively bring in and set up 1,400 temporary cell sites all around the stadium. This is massive scale engineering, all for a peak load that only lasts a few hours.
And what's the payoff for all that intense preparation? They delivered download speeds of over 2 gigabits per second to tens of thousands of people, all at the same time. The system didn't just survive, it performed brilliantly under the most extreme pressure imaginable.
And this is the absolute key to the Super Bowl mindset. Success wasn't some flashy new feature that people noticed. Success was the complete and total absence of problems.
Nobody was tweeting, "Wow, my cell service is incredible." They were just tweeting. The infrastructure did its job so perfectly that it became invisible. That's how you beat the visibility paradox.
So how do we take that big league Super Bowl way of thinking and actually apply it to our own businesses? Well, that brings us to the prescription. These are a few concrete cognitive exercises you can do to start rewiring how your own brain makes these decisions.
Okay, we start by making an abstract risk feel real and tangible. Now, the what if Jennifer gets hit by a bus thought experiment sounds a little morbid, I know, but it is incredibly effective. It forces you to look your biggest vulnerabilities right in the eye and then create a clear, actionable plan to fix them.
And if you need a purely financial reason, here it is in black and white. That infrastructure decision debt we talked about, this is the bill. A proactive investment of, say, 75 grand today can prevent a mind-boggling $326,000 headache down the road. Waiting isn't saving money. It's basically financing a future crisis at an insane interest rate.
So how do we fight that decision fatigue? It's actually pretty simple. You take the decision off the table. By just blocking out one non-negotiable hour every single week, you make it a habit. You're no longer deciding if you'll work on infrastructure, you're only deciding what small part of it you'll improve this week. It's a tiny change that has a huge compounding effect.
And to solve that pesky visibility paradox, you have to find a way to make the invisible visible. Start tracking things that prove your systems are working. Metrics like system uptime or the number of orders processed with 0 errors. Put them up on a dashboard where everyone can see them. And this is the most important part, celebrate when nothing goes wrong. That's how you create the positive feedback loop your brain needs.
When you get right down to it, this is all about a fundamental shift in perspective. The conversation can't be about just fixing things when they break. Your sharpest competitors are way past that. They're actively using their smooth, reliable infrastructure as a weapon, a way to be faster, better, and more dependable than you. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought. Your current systems, even the ones that seem to be working just fine, have a hidden cost. It might be in wasted time, it might be in tiny errors, it might be in opportunities you can't even see. The real question isn't if you're paying a price for your infrastructure, it's whether you've ever really sat down and calculated what that price truly is.